Have a good battle, friend.
I'm going to have a great battle because patch 18.2 was announced today. We're recording this on Thursday, September 3rd. That's when this was announced. And with it is coming Battlegrounds Parties. And now, Joss, you and I have been talking about 8-player Battlegrounds lobbies for quite some time because Team 5 has been talking about 8-player lobbies for quite some time. But do you remember like one episode where we were talking about data mined information and they were like, hey, it kind of looks like maybe you could also queue up into regular normal Battlegrounds with more than 2 players. What's this code about? Well, all of this is happening with 18.2. Battlegrounds Parties, and this is dropping on September 8th, next week, by the way. You're going to be able to queue up with basically as many players as you want, and depending on how many players you are bringing into your Battlegrounds lobby is going to determine whether it is a private game of Battlegrounds with just you and your friends, or if you and up to 4 of your friends are just heading out into the Battlegrounds ladder, if that's what I guess we don't really call it a ladder, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I was going to say, do we really call it a ladder? Because, I mean, there's climbing that happens, right? Because we have MMRs and those scores go up and down. So I guess it's a ladder. But yeah, it's definitely the competitive, air quotes, part of the Battlegrounds mode, which then begs the question, how much can a 4-man party influence a Battlegrounds lobby? Because that's a lot of the chatter that I've seen, because it's the kind of thing. And I feel like when we talked about the data mined code as well, it's the kind of thing where we were like, well, is this something we want? Do we not want? Like 4 players seems like a lot. It seems very influential. Like you would be able to kind of like funnel minions to your friends sort of thing, and you know, like really fix a lobby, which seems a lot harder when there's only 2 of you, right? Because it's 6 on 2 versus 4 on 4. So I've seen a lot of like questioning around the like competitive viability of this, and I'm on the fence, because I think yes, it could impact the competitiveness of Battlegrounds, but on the other hand, what are we really playing for? There's no ladder, there's no tournament, there's no prize at the end. Like there aren't even like monthly rewards. Your Battlegrounds MMR is bragging rights only. So
yes, and at the same time though, I mean, you're playing for an experience that you enjoy, and a lot of people enjoy the experience as it is. And even though it's not,
I would be more concerned as a not 4-man stack, right? Like, without like constantly feeling like I'm playing against 4 players who are like, Stompa in the chat room says, 4 coordinated players. Feels like you might be, you know, taking on the world in every lobby you go into.
Potentially, right? It is hard for me, someone who also enjoys Heroes of the Storm, to not be like, oh, it's not that bad. Like going up against a pre-made in Heroes of the Storm like hurts if you're not yourself also in a pre-made. Like there's it's obvious, but I feel like I should bring it up to just like curb emails and tweets. Like you need to mention that like there's a lot of RNG involved in a drafting game like Battlegrounds is.
Yes, as opposed to a coordinated game like a MOBA.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
However, you can manipulate that RNG better with more players messing and, as you said, influencing the draft pool. And I feel like an expert on this because I have been called influential many, many times.
Have you? Yeah. So I think that it's again, I'm so on the fence, because part of me thinks that, yeah, this is a bad idea because it's going to make it very difficult to be like a solo Battlegrounds player. But then on the other hand, it's like, because like it's not the same as ladder that, you know, gets you a seat in the Masters Tour that can lead to Grandmasters, which is a lot of money and blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, this is just for funsies.
Yeah.
So why can't they play around in funsies?
I think they should play around with it, and I think they should make adjustments if it becomes apparent.
Yeah, if this starts to feel bad, then they can always go back.
Yeah, I'm landing like firmly in firm territory of let's just see how it goes and we'll go from there. Like my brain goes, I naturally lean on, let's just make it so you go up against another 4 stack.
Yeah.
Or another 3 stack or another 2 stack.
I think that would be good because then you're kind of pitting coordinated groups against other coordinated groups, as opposed to, although maybe that makes the Battlegrounds queues too long. I have no idea what that kind of impact would be. But
again, as someone who enjoys Heroes of the Storm, which sometimes feels like it could have the same 30 people playing all the time, I don't think a game like Battlegrounds and its player numbers is going to have even anything close to what we might refer to as an issue. I mean, frankly, also we're spoiled as Hearthstone players. Like our queues are damn near instant.
Oh my gosh,
so, like,
they're so fast.
I can just see the 1,237 upvoted threads of, I had to wait 1 minute to get into a Battlegrounds game. This is literally killing Hearthstone. Which I would immediately
my Dead
die
by
of laughing
Daylight
reading.
queue hits like 25 minutes and I'm like, game yet? No? Okay.
yeah. It's, I don't know. Play more than one game, folks. Get a little perspective, please. But like, it's worth bringing up. Like, and I get it. Like, there's an expectation within the sphere of Hearthstone. But I'm surprised that's not how they're starting. Maybe they are, but it doesn't mention anything in here about it functioning that way. And I've also asked some folks if it functions that way and got back nothing of note in terms of an answer. So yeah. But still, this is very cool. And it appears, at least the way that they describe it in the blog post, to like UI wise to function in a very kind of minimalist Hearthstone fashion, because there's a graphic of like ranked game, private game, and apparently what happens is that it just kind of automatically swaps itself to private game once more than 4 players are in the, I guess, pre-Battlegrounds lobby. Yeah. Party, I guess, is just the term that they're using. So, they said that up to 4 players are going to be able to queue for a normal ranked Battlegrounds match together. Once the group lobby exceeds 4 players, the game type will automatically switch to a private Battlegrounds match for 5 to 8 players. So
then it sounds like that backfills with just like Kel'Thuzad's with no minions, or
backfills. It basically doesn't backfill. You can just have a 5-player Battlegrounds game, or a 6-player or a 7-player. And it just doesn't, like, there's no AI. It doesn't bring in some poor soul that wanders into your 7-stack private game. Although I don't know why you would be doing a private game and like colluding with one another when you're clearly doing a private game to whoop up on one another. So, but this is cool. And I don't know about you, Joss, but like, I wasn't expecting it to have this. Also on top of this update, you're going to be able to go into regular Battlegrounds with 3 or 4 of your friends. So that's, for me, I think that's cool as we're getting all of this like at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in general, just grouping in Battlegrounds and having everything work as fluidly as it sounds like it's going to, I think that it makes sense that it all came out at once for sure. But I definitely wasn't expecting it. No.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time. Like, oh man, can you imagine? We're going to be able to like get like you and like Had or Vigil or Slissa if she's, wants to come down out of 13,000 MMR and slum it with us.
I don't want to be in Slissa's lobby. I love her, but she kicked my butt.
but we could, influence the draft with Slissa's brain. It'd be great. It'll be a good time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's another interesting thing too, right? Like, let's say you've got 4 players. We play with Slissa, who just hit 13K. By the way, I was there. And then, you've got a 13K MMR player, and then you've got kind of like Garrett somewhere around like what, 7.5, 8. Me somewhere around 7.
Backslid back into the 7s. Yeah.
Okay, but so let's say a 7, 8, 9, and a 13 all queue in together, and then Who does that put in your lobby?
I don't know, a dog, Crip, like
and someone with a 4K MMR that just started.
Firebat Smurf. It's just like,
yeah.
Oh, how did I end up in here? Be great. Be a good time. So, but I'm excited. But like, it should be. I'm looking forward to like going in with some friends and seeing what we like. I'm actually kind of excited to try and abuse it and see how it goes, because you can only do so much. I mean, we've seen it with their show tournaments that they put on, where
even then they were only 2, right?
Exactly,
So.
and they were trying to play the system, but it didn't always work. Like,
yeah, sometimes it did. Sometimes they were able to, if someone would say like a Rafam, like pass minions over to them and like order stuff in a way that would help their teammate. Sometimes it's like they would have maybe leveled up or done positioning differently so that they didn't kill their teammates. And, like there were definitely things that they could do in those Battlegrounds tournaments. And again, that was 2 instead of 4.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the reordering, like purposely inefficiently ordering your minions for attack was the one that gave me the biggest grin, because like it kind of worked, but also sometimes it just failed spectacularly, and one of the teammates ended up absolutely murdering the other.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah, sometimes it can't be avoided. Sometimes your teammate's just having a bad game. You can't, like you were mentioning, all of the RNG elements in Battlegrounds. It's not only what Bob offers you, it's not only the attacks, it's also the RNG of who you get pitted up against when. There are many, many layers of randomness in Battlegrounds. So I feel like this is probably okay, but we'll have to see. It's definitely a wait and see situation, because, I think when you have 4 people playing a game together, then that's just always going to be better than playing by yourself, right? Because you've basically got 3 other people in your corner. Unless they're, like my friends and like Garrett that are, probably just going to try to screw me over.
What did
what are you going for, Josh? You want to do pirates? And then secretly buys all the pirates.
Pump the effing brakes. Okay, what did I do? That's Jocelyn, I'm hurt.
Oh, that's what you're gonna do.
No,
Come on.
No. I mean, it would. Okay. I mean, in this scenario, it would depend on the quality of the pirate. I mean, like if you hadn't found Liza yet, and I found Liza, like it'd just be like, I'm sorry, Joss. It's here.
See, chat room says facts.
They
know.
We just have to go in with a pack. Like there's like Caligos. Like if you find a Caligos, sorry, all bets are off. Every Battlegrounds player for themselves. Like it's Caligos. Anyone can successfully pivot to dragons when they find Caligos. I'm sorry, I'm going for the win.
See, I'm just saying, my friends are going to go for the win before they're going to go for the help.
But I'm not going to like mislead you. I'm not going to be like, hey, I won't draft Caligos. I'm telling you right here and now, Jocelyn, I'm drafting Caligos. In any scenario, I'm drafting Caligos. But beyond that, if it's like, oh, just go for it. I've got Bran and I am like double down on Murlocs. You do you. I'm not gonna, you can trust that. You can trust that. So
yeah.
So anyways, now is probably as good a time as ever to announce that we will be putting together a new taco for Battlegrounds. We haven't quite figured out exactly how we're going to bracketify this because it's 8-player lobbies. We're kind of leaning towards like starting with like 64 and just filling out a bunch of 8-player lobbies
down from there,
and whittling it down. We want to keep it fun and light. We don't want to bother with point assignments or anything. But we know it's going to happen on Friday, September 25th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on the NA server. So patrons, you'll get first chance to sign up once we actually figure out how many 8-player lobbies we want to try for this first round. And stay tuned to patreon.com/DAC. And then if there's any spots left, we'll open up to everybody. So it's going to be
yeah, we basically have to figure out how we're going to build it, but
yeah. I'm leaning towards just like starting with what, like 4 or 6 lobbies, going down to 4 lobbies, going down to 2 lobbies, going down to 1 lobby, something of that nature. Just seeing
8-4-2-1.
8-4-2-1. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or possibly 16-8-4-2-1, but 16 seems like too many.
I'd like it to not exceed 3 hours.
Yeah.
That would be my goal.
Considering we're starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. Yeah.
Yes. But I'd also like it to be, we want to try a night one. We were talking about it earlier today. We're like, let's try something at night and see if we can't make it a little more convenient, at least for the NA denizens. So,
yeah.
So yeah, we'll have more info on that later, but just mark your calendars, Friday, September 25th, 9 p.m. Eastern.